Cheers, vinyl and cassette community. What's going on? It's LJ, and I have got to share just another killer metal cassette score with you. If you've kept up with my last couple of cassette community videos, you know there's an antique mall close by, and there were some tapes that had no business being there. I shared a bunch from the first find with you, and then I went back again. He had brought more, so I shared a bunch of those with you. And I really thought I had them pretty well cleaned out at this point. How much more can you bring? But I stopped in today, and lo and behold, the dealers don't stay at the mall. They kind of drop things off, and then there's a staff that runs the antique mall. Otherwise, I'd be looking to like make a big bulk deal with this guy and just tell me how many more you have. But it doesn't work that way. He's not there. I shared the last stack with you. There was a bunch of Udo and Halloween, Cassette, Possessed, and King Diamond. So I popped in today, and there was a new box, and you know, again, history repeated itself. It was just, got him! And grabbed them, and here they are, and I want to share them with you. I just brought them home this afternoon. A lot of this stuff already familiar to me, and some I haven't even heard before. It's like a lot of these I just haven't had on cassette or held on cassette since I was a teenager, and these were the soundtracks of the times for me, at least in the late 80s, early 90s. And it was the format of choice, you know, because CDs were still really pricey, and you went to the mall on Friday night and you had, you know, 20 bucks on you. 20 bucks meant either 2 tapes or 1 CD. And to the cash-strapped teenager, 2 tapes was pretty tempting over 1 CD. In the background, this is Dream Theater, Images and Words. It's a recent reissue. Such a great album. Absolutely love the way this sounds. So let's start running through these. There's just some great additions here. I'm not going to take them all out. There's quite a few, and I don't want to, you know, make a 20-minute video on anyone. Here's some cool Sabotage ads. So I had recently grabbed Hall of the Mountain King, which is just an absolutely awesome album. And here is Sabotage, Power of the Night. This one I haven't heard. I'm not familiar with it at all. I got into Sabotage with Hall of the Mountain King, so I'm really looking forward to checking that out. And there was a couple newer Sabotage ones. I've heard this one, Handful of Rain. And I know this one because E.L. Peter sent me the CD, last year sometime. And I did listen to it once or twice. I remember it being really good. Newer power metal. And that's from, if I tell you all these, it'll run forever, 94. And here is another one I had never heard. This one's from 93. It's Sabotage, Edge of Thorns. So I definitely can't wait to tear into that one. I did not follow Sabotage much after Hall of the Mountain King. So if you know anything about that one and can recommend a track, leave me a comment. In one of my last update videos, I showed that I found Sepultura's Arise. And that was cool. So as far as me and death metal, I've said before, very few. I tried to get into it back in high school, and just the low growl and something about death metal didn't work. So it was always more metal and thrash, and then of course southern rock and rock. But there are a few death metal albums that kind of became inadvertent classics just through overexposure to them then. One death metal band I do like and can tolerate is definitely Sepultura. And I found Arise right last time. I was stoked to have found Beneath the Remains, the album from just before Arise. Absolutely, absolutely loved this album in high school. Listened to it many times. I have not listened to it again yet, so it's going to be interesting to see if I still have the stomach for death metal, but I'll know a lot of these. I haven't heard them in years, but the second they play, it'll be pretty familiar. Also was the one just before that. Here's Morbid Visions and Bestial Devastation's EP. So kind of their first full-length release and their first EP. I don't remember liking this one very much when I first heard it. Much rawer than Beneath the Remains. We'll give it a shot, and it was there, so I couldn't leave it behind. And here's where I lost touch after this with Sepultura. This is Chaos AD. I thought this was an awesome follow-up to Arise. I loved it, and I'm really looking forward to listening to it again. Now, I've seen a couple of people show this on vinyl. I've never heard it, but I found Against in the same box. So, the Sepultura collection just went from Arise to like, boom, straight forward. I mean, how could I not grab it? I know Sepultura had a different singer on this album, but the rest of the band is the same. Really looking forward to checking it out. Here were a few Maiden ads. I mentioned I was missing a few Maiden tapes. The first one, Number of the Beast, and I don't know, a couple others. But check it out. Here's Maiden's debut, and this is a reissue on Castle Records, clear cassette. It's from '95, and there was this insert in it, which is very, very cool. Just the old Iron Maiden artwork, and what this has, it has the full album on side A, and then side B, the full debut album is on side A, and then on side B we have Burning Ambition, Drifter, and I've Got the Fire, which is what this says. So it's very cool. It's like, not only is it the original Maiden album, the debut, but it's also an EP, or 12-inch singles at the time, or single releases for Maiden. So that's really cool. I can't wait to dig that. And here are the only two Maiden tapes that I would have been indifferent if I ever owned. If they hadn't been in the box, I wouldn't have grabbed them. But Little Blaze Bayley, Era Maiden, here is the X Factor. If there's one of the two that I like better, it's this one. And here's Virtual, I always say XI, and this was the other Blaze Bayley album. So why these didn't sit well with me is, you have to remember, this happened, Maiden with a different singer, what, 98 and 95. So, I mean, right, I'm like 19 years old, and one of my like cherished bands is switching out their lead singer. I had grown up in the Dickinson era, I grew to love piano, and this just wasn't right. So, and it's never sat right with me, it never corrected itself. I'm really happy to have them. I don't own them, those two on CD, I never will on vinyl. So to have them on tape is cool. Here's a band that I struggled with them. I grabbed them because they were there. I don't know that I'm going to keep them or not. But anyways, some more death metal. Here's Cannibal Corpse with Vile. And I know, just Cannibal Corpse does not show up. So there's Vile. Here's Bloodthirst from Cannibal Corpse. I remember having their first couple when they came out. I can't remember their names just because the covers were nasty. But I never really truly got into them. But again, they were there. Here's The Bleeding. So it's kind of one of those, I'll give them a chance and may or may not keep them. And this is Butchered at Birth, and this has the censored cover. But it was kind of neat. The artwork was disgusting, I remember it. But there's a special offer inside where you can mail away for the uncensored cover. Let's see, what else? Here's a couple from Dream Theater. Speaking of Dream Theater in the background, here's Awake. And I believe this followed Images and Words. And this is one of the next ones due out on vinyl. And I have seen the Dream Theater vinyls coming out. And there's really only a couple that I endeavor to own. I already have Systematic Chaos and Images and Words on vinyl. Awake would definitely be another one. So I was really happy to find that. I love that album. And this one, I don't remember listening to at all. It's Falling Into Infinity. Dream Theater's another band that after the first few, I kind of just lost track of them, and I'm slowly circling back now. So definitely looking forward to checking out Falling Into Infinity. Let's see. Oh, this was seriously cool. Omen, here's Battle Cry. This is from 1984 on Metal Blade, and check out that cover art. I mean, this is what 80s metal was all about. I have not heard this. I don't remember ever hearing it, and I would have been around middle school at this point, but I definitely can't wait to check it out. That looks like exactly the kind of stuff I'm looking for. Classic 80s metal. Let's speed through the rest of these. I showed you Danzig 1 and 2 that I found, and mentioned with 3 and 4 I would be done. Ba-bow! Double shot! So here's, I know this cover's sideways, here's Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill, which I think is a really good successor to the second album. Some great tracks. And this is the one that started to lose Danzig for me, and I would never reconnect with them. Danzig 4. I've tried. There were some more Danzig tapes in the stack, and I left them. I don't want them. With exception of Death Red Sabbath, which is a new album I love, and I'll pick that up on vinyl eventually. Here's two. Speaking of just classic 80s metal, you can't get better than Grim Reaper. I already have Fear No Evil is here. I have See You in Hell already on cassette, and here's Fear No Evil, which is an excellent album. And Rock You to Hell, and I have this on vinyl as well. Both killer albums, and that's just a great 80s metal. Here's a copy of Deal, Holy Diver. So I think really just looking for last in line at this point, or else in. So with death metal, there's a couple other bands. Deicide, I never really got. I tried. They're like Cannibal Corpse for me. Obituary, I loved Cause of Death, and if I found that, I would grab it. The only other band I ever kinda got and listened to a lot trying to get them is Death. So here is a copy of Death, Human. And again, it's one of those you just don't see death. And if you do, it's newer, but it's definitely not classics like Leprosy. So this was an amazing find. I was shocked when I saw Leprosy sitting in the box. And Leprosy is just, it's a 40-minute headache. So there's only a few left here. Here's the one Metallica tape I was missing, and you can tell I was just in no rush to pick this up. This is Reload. I'm just not a big Reload fan, or anything after the Black album. They can kind of take or leave, you know what I mean? So here's Reload. It's just nice to add it to the collection. Speaking of plug and holes, this is the last Rush tape I didn't have. So I have everything up through Counterparts, and I guess Test for Echo may probably pop up eventually, and the others I'll have to check, but I did not have the first one. That was a great find. Here's two more from Megadeth. So I had everything up through Euthanasia and was stoked to find Cryptic Writings. Excellent stuff, and love the tape too. I should show you the Metallica one too. I gotta admit, they did a nice job with the cassette. Looks awesome. And Risk. I actually like Risk. I'm a huge Megadeth fan, and I gotta tell you, they named the album Risk for a reason. So after Euthanasia, right, you have Cryptic Writings, which kind of slowed things down, and it worked. It sold in the millions. So then Risk, we'll take the risk and try it again. Didn't necessarily pan out sales-wise, but I think they're both epic albums, and the song Breadline from Risk is a classic Megadeth track. I have a few more left. Here's two from Nuclear Assault. Here's, this is Out of Order. I've only seen this on vinyl once, and I think it was Greeno that showed it. And the one that followed is Something Wicked. I think they changed the guitarist and bassist between these two. I do remember Out of Order. I don't remember ever hearing Something Wicked. So really looking forward to hearing those two. And the last three here, this is another Udo that turned up, and this is Faceless World. I love Udo, man. From Accept, the guy can just do no wrong. Standard white cassette, so that's the third Udo on cassette. And we'll wrap this up with the last two, which are two more from Halloween. So here is Master of the Rings. Really excited to find more Halloween and build that part of the collection up. Just a great band. That's from '94. And here's Walls of Jericho, and this also has the mini LP Judas. So definitely, I'm familiar with this one. Have it on vinyl. Really looking forward to hearing it on cassette, hearing how the remaster sounds. And that's it. So that is more metal than you can shake a stick at. Huge thanks to all the new subscribers that have jumped on board. I really hope you're digging what you're seeing. And talk to you soon, vinyl community. Take care, guys. Ciao.